What were the conversations like with yourself? Like some of those nights that you want to sleep crying, what was it like to actually feel like in that place?
I felt like a loser. I felt like a bad dad. I felt like, I felt like my whole world ended. I had all these regrets, and I had all this, why me, God?
What would a piece of advice be for leaders who struggle with letting go and struggle with kind of giving responsibilities to some of the people under them?
By you being a control freak and by you not letting people shine, you're kind of taking away from them, from your employees, and also you are definitely limiting your growth. You can't grow, you can't do everything yourself. So you got to be able to delegate. And when you delegate, that doesn't mean, okay, you totally give up control. You got delegate, you set expectation. And one of my favorite quotes by Ronald Reagan is inspect what you expect.
I like that.
Every once in a while you got to inspect and make sure that the system is running correctly.
Yeah, I like that. There was this pastor I was listening to recently, and he said if you keep holding on to what you have, you can never receive what you want.
So true.
And yeah, it's just people. So many people are clinging to what they have just because it's there and it's safe versus actually going after what they really want.
Yeah.
So so you're putting in those systems and everything. How did I was listening to an interview of you, and you said you went up to $2.4 million.
Yeah, at one point in my personal training business, I was doing $2.4 million. I think it was 2007. I was doing $2.4 million out of out of a facility, and I was like, man, and my ego was getting so inflated because I thought I was the man, and I was making a lot of good money, and I think I was making like 20 grand a month. I had a $5,000 car payment. When I look back, man, I was like, oh my God, man, I was not, nobody taught me, the correct way of finances.
Yeah.
Nobody taught me, man, wait, man, 25% of your, income shouldn't go to a car payment.
Yeah.
But, I just, I always wanted to show people, hey, man, I'm successful. I arrived. I told you I will do it. I told you.
Yeah.
The little boy from Pennsylvania wanted to show everybody he's arrived. But, something happened in 2008 called recession. And one of the mistakes I made, I didn't know anything about economics. And, I thought that when things are good, they're always going to be good. And I soon found out that that's not true.
Yeah, everyone's finding that out right now.
Yeah. So, I was totally not spending my money wisely. I was over leveraged. Back then, I bought a house with an 80-20 loan, which means I had no equity. I was two loans, 80% and 20%. And when all of a sudden, the recession happened, we were getting cancellations. Nobody could afford training anymore. And my revenue started plummeting so hard, and I still had the big lifestyle.
Yeah.
And it was over leveraged. So,
how quickly did it fall?
I would say within 6 months.
Really?
All of a sudden, I felt like it wasn't quite like the COVID, because COVID was like, okay, everything stopped.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it was just like a slow death.
Okay.
I was like, it's going down, and going down. And one of the worst things that I've done, one is being arrogant. Thinking that recession is not going to affect me.
Yeah. And
also being too optimistic. And being too, it's going to be good. It'll be fine. Well, it wasn't fine. And those are two mistakes that I made in the beginning. I didn't react to it fast enough. And I'll just be fine. It'll be fine. And it kind of drained my bank account. And I literally, was getting foreclosure notices on my house. We decided to, have our first child. And I remember being at a restaurant, crying, seeing my ex-wife pregnant with our child, and we have no money in the bank. Matter of fact, it was $314 negative, and I'm going like, all that negative self-talk is going through me, because my why was right under me, was just swept right under me. My why was provide for my family and be the father. And now I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be just like my own dad that couldn't provide for me, was gone, and what am I going to do? So there was a few months that, man, Justin, I was downright depressed. Downright depressed. I wasn't going to the gym. You know, I was just going to work. I was trying to figure things out. And probably the worst thing that I've ever done, it was abandon the gym. Because right there has always been my anchor. The way I set my day, set my mood, you know, the way I get a peak state and become focused is my gym. So when I abandoned the gym, you know, my whole mental capability went down. You know, my mental health went down, and everything kind of spiraled from that. You know, and once I give up my pity party, I'm like, all right, we gotta get up. I gotta get up. I gotta do something. I'm about to have a child, and I can't stay down. And for a few years, Justin, I had no success. None. I've tried different programs, different things, trying to figure out how to increase revenue and that. No matter what I did, didn't work. From 2008 to 2012, 13, imagine 4 or 5 years. You get up, and you're like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do something. You got up and you went, and literally every day you took an L.
Yeah.
Every day you took an L. And it's hard to stay motivated, but I just stuck to the routine. When you're going through a hard time in life, you have two choices. Don't do anything and feel sorry for yourself, or do something. That's what I did. And finally, in 2014, I started seeing a little bit of traction. And that's when we started it, you know, started scaling, and we started increasing the revenue, and then I started seeing the light at the end of the tunnel.
Okay. That had to be scary, man. Like that, just that fear, that stress of.
Imagine coming to your home and seeing a notice to evacuate the house. Imagine that. Imagine, you know, every time some car drives by your home, like, are they here to kick us out because we haven't been able to pay the mortgage?
Yeah.
You know, imagine that. Imagine, you know, figuring out, oh my God, what am I going to do for my child?
Yeah. Just never feeling safe.
Yes.
Yeah. So when was that hotel room? You always tell me about that story. When was that?
Great question, man. So as I was seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, I'm like, okay, I'm finally getting us out of this financial issue. My credit was shot, but I started seeing some things. You know, we came up with, you know, the 6-week challenge program. Finally, something that worked. You know, after years of nothing worked, and because I was for 4 or 5 years, I was just not mentally home. You know, physically, I wasn't home. Mentally, I was definitely checked out because I was just trying to figure out, you know, not to lose everything. You know, I wasn't there for my ex-wife. You know, I was grumpy because I was defeated. And one day I was at work and I got served divorce papers. You know, and wow, I was just coming out of one big problem, and I was handed another one. And I was so devastated. You know, now I for real lost my kids. You know, and so I went into a Chino Hills hotel, which was like, you know, I negotiated a $70 a night deal, and I stayed there for like 4 months. And for the first month, man, every night, Justin, I went to, you know, and nobody knew. None of my coworkers knew. None of my business partners knew. Because I'm like, all right, well, you know, this be a phase. We'll get back together, you know, something like that. I didn't want people to know, you know, drama and stuff. And so I lived there for 4 months, and for the first month, every night I was crying. I was just crying so hard every night in that hotel room, and I had to say why, you know, and you know, I'm like, what am I going to do, you know, and how am I going to now spend my time? And when I was trying to put a plan together, how I wanted the rest of my life to be, and how I'm going to spend the rest of my life, I was like, all right, what are my top priorities? My top priority became spending time with the family, which at that point was just my girls, you know. And since, you know, now you get a divorce, now, you know, I can only see my girls on Wednesdays and on the weekends. So if I can't be with my girls, what am I going to do? Well, I'm just going to provide for them.
Yeah.
And also, I wanted to stay healthy so I can keep doing 1 and 2. So my top priorities in life became spending time with my children, providing for my children, and staying healthy so I can 1 and 2. When you're crystal clear on your goals and what you want out of life, the decision making becomes real easy.
Mm-hmm. Was that your lowest point?
I would say so.
Yeah.
I would say so.
What were the conversations like with yourself? Like some of those nights that you want to sleep crying. What was it like to actually feel like in that place?
I felt like a loser. I felt like a bad dad. Mm-hmm. I felt like my whole world ended. I had all these regrets. And I had all this. Why me, God? God, you know how much I love my children. Why would you want to take them away from me? And resentment towards my ex-wife. Mm-hmm. Resentment, like, why would she do that? Why would she do that? I'm like, we have children together. Why would she want to do that to our children? And so those are all the emotions that was going through me. What
would your advice be to a father who's going through something like that, who's in a rut financially or something like that, and he's facing a separation, he's facing losing his kids, or he's facing just, how do I pull my family out of this, especially right now? What would your advice be?
Well, my first advice will be, you can't stress over things you can't control. Mm-hmm. Okay? I can't control my ex-wife. I can't control what the court says, right? I can't control many aspects of the things. So what I'm going to do on my schedule is I'm going to work on all the things that I can control. And I'm going to fill them up with activities. I'm going to make sure that every day that I'm awake is filled with activities that I want to do. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Every single day, so I'm either with my children, provide for my children, or staying healthy, so in the gym. Mm-hmm. I believe that if you have too much time on your hands, when you're going through a tough time in life, that's where the devil comes and the depression sets in. So I kept myself really busy. I mean, there was times that I go to the gym, Justin, and I would literally put my baseball hat all the way down. I would cry the whole time when I'm lifting. Like literally cry the whole time in 24-hour fitness.
Yeah.
In 24-hour fitness. But what am I going to do? Cry, at least I'm working on my body. Mm-hmm. At least I'm feeling a little bit better after I lift. What am I going to do? Sit down in a hotel room and cry?
Yeah.
It's just not going to go, not going to be, not going to end well.
Yeah. So I want to talk about your dark side. Tim Grover talks about it a lot.
Yeah.
What does your dark side look like? How do you think it's born in times of trouble and times like that? And how do you use that to kind of get yourself out?
I think the dark side is born at you at a young age when you're in troubled times. Mm-hmm. It's hard to have a dark side, I think, if you come from a very privileged family and you don't see anything. I think dark side came to me when I was bullied and made fun of.
Okay.
Dark side came to me when people told me I couldn't be a bodybuilder. Dark side came to me, when I was tested. Oh my God, I'm not going to be able to provide for my child. So it's that superpower. Dark side can kill you, or it can give you a superpower. If you let the dark side take over you, and you become dark, and now you think, oh, the world is bad, and you're a victim, and all that kind of stuff, then you're going down a rabbit hole, and you're gonna go through all kinds of depression, and all kinds of mental health issues. But if you say, okay, you know what, never again will I allow myself, to experience that. Like I told you in 2008 when everything went down, I was depressed, and I told myself, if I ever get out of this, I will never let myself put my family in that position. Now we're in COVID-19, right? I've been preparing for this day. Yeah. I've been preparing for this day since 2008. And I told God that if I'm going to be out of it, I will never put I'm good.
Yeah, kind of it put you on a mission.
Yeah,
it put you on a mission. It really did. And I've for the last 2 years, I've always heard you say, like, I'm set. I'm waiting for it, and I'm set. Yeah. And like, here you are. You said you're fine. Yeah, you're fine. So, yeah, man, it's because I always see people, they try to deny that dark side. They try to either hide it. They try to just admit that it doesn't exist. What do you say to people who maybe like have that in them? Like he talks about it. Tim Grover talks about it with Kobe so much, and how he just had he had that anger and that dark side in him that pushed him to want to be the best. How has that?
You gotta embrace your dark side and use it to your advantage. You know what I mean? You gotta understand that, that's your superpower. Kobe had it, Michael Jordan had it. Michael Jordan got cut from the 8th grade basketball team just like I did.
Yeah.
Became the greatest player of all times. And so many athletes and business owners and everything else like that have used it to their advantage, and you can't run from your dark side. It's there. So you might as well bring it out and use it to your advantage. People can use it to their advantage, or people can just use it just to, oh man, because this happened to me, I'm this way, because that happened to me, I can't do this because no, man, no. Embrace that and use it.
Okay. So how'd you pull yourself out of that? How did you get out of the hotel? How'd you start doing better financially?
So I've learned, in life that it's kind of like, life is kind of like getting ready for a bodybuilding show, or kind of like trying to lose weight. If I want to lose 50 pounds right now, I'm not going to do it in one day or in 1 week. All I can do is put in the little bit of work that I need to put in every day and be consistent at it. So when that came in, when I said, okay, spend time with the family, provide for the family, and stay healthy, every minute that I was awake was on that schedule. So I knew that I don't know how my life is going to turn out in 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, but I'm just going to try to win one day at a time. And I know if I win one day at a time, that will compound to winning the week, winning the month, and winning the year, and winning the decade. And and to this day, that better than anybody. I just concentrate on one thing, one day at a time.
Yeah. Okay. So was that the birth of the camp and everything like that?
Yeah. So the birth of the camp was in 2012.
Okay.
Where we started the camp, and it was out of necessity and out of desperation. And this is a great time to talk about it. Some of the greatest businesses are come out of recession because there's a need for it. Before the recession, we did one-on-one training. That's what everybody did. And one-on-one training is good, but people who've done one-on-one training will understand that one-on-one training becomes a therapy session after a while, because the trainer gets to know you, you get to know the trainer, and next thing you know, you guys are all talking about everything, and everything's going on. You're not really training, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, she's here. She's gonna talk all the time. Oh my God, So we decided, okay, now that people cannot afford one-on-one personal training, what are we going to do? Well, how about we have 4 or 5 people with one trainer? When we did that, it was called small group training, and now they share the cost of a trainer. Now instead of paying $600 a month, 4 people pay $150 a month. So it's more affordable for them, and we can still be in business. But now how about one trainer with 20 people? So we started doing that. And in the beginning, I'll be the first one to tell you, I was a skeptic. I mean, this is not going to work. They're not going to get the same results as one-on-one training. Boy, was I wrong. Thank God I was willing to at least try it. That's very important for everyone who's listening to this, because you can't just say it's not going to work until you try it. Yeah. I've been in the room with some of the smartest people in the world, and we came up with one conclusion. When somebody asks, "Hey, we think it's going to work," we always say, "We don't know." I mean, the smartest people say, "We don't know. Try it," because the same smart people that were in the room, I mean, some of the smartest digital marketers, some of the smartest business minds, they said, "I thought this was going to work, but it didn't. But then I thought that wasn't going to work, and it did." So test. So we tested it out. It worked because people like to work out with their friends. People like the camaraderie.
Yeah.
And with more people, there's less time to chit chat.
Yeah. Okay. So how did it grow? How did it get from the ghetto location to what it is now?
So we just started getting better at, marketing. We started getting better at our offer. And we came up with what I call the irresistible offer, a no-brainer offer, an industry standard, an industry disruption. I remember, I was trying to come up with, I was trying to revamp our website, and I wanted before and after pictures. And I told 20 people, I put it out there, I'm going to train 20 people for free. But they got to transform. I want these people to lose 20 pounds in 6 weeks. And I'll train for free if they do that and give me their before and after picture for a new website. So I took 20 people, Justin, and out of 20 people, none of them got in shape. And none of them stuck around for the 6 weeks. And you know me, I was devastated. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. These people want to lose weight. They tell me they're interested, but they're not following through. Mm-hmm. And I was so disappointed in the human behavior. So I called my mentor, one of my friends, Bill Phillips. I said, Bill, how come people don't follow through? They say they're going to do something. They say they want to lose weight. They don't follow through. And he said, Sam, people are motivated by a prize. You got to give them an incentive. Mm-hmm. So I came up with an incentive that, hey, I'll do it for free, but they got to pay for the program. They only will get their money back if they finish and follow through. And I took 20 people. Out of 20 people, 19 finished. And I'm like, wait a second. And I was going to give them their money back. And none of them wanted their money back. They wanted to continue. I'm like, wait a second, this is a hoax. Let me do it again. So I did it again, same result. Did it again, same results. And I came out with the irresistible offer, which is called the home of the 6-week 20-pound challenge, where you can train for free, but you have to follow through.
It seems so counterintuitive.
It is. I mean, like, imagine me talking to my business partners. You know, imagine that conversation. Yeah. Imagine how they laughed at me. You know, I said, hey, here's what we're going to do. We're going to train people for 6 weeks. When they get results, we give them their money back. And they're like, Sam, have you lost your mind? Nobody wanted to do it. So in the first few times, I did it myself. Mm-hmm. I did it all by myself. I did everything on my own expense, my own dime. But when everybody saw that, wow, this works, everybody got on the point.
How is actually that financially profitable? I'm curious, because if they just keep pushing it on to the next one, how do you make money? How are you profitable?
So we make money because by a concept called giving results first. You know what I mean? And I want people to understand this is so important in life. You know, for everybody who all of a sudden, like, you know, everybody wants to, hey, pay me and I'll do this for you. Well, how about you do that for them and then ask them for payment? Kind of like what you did. Yeah. You did the same thing. You came here, you put in some work for free. You proved yourself. And I'm like, okay, I'll hire you. Mm-hmm. Well, nobody wants to do that in the real world. People want to, pay me this much, I'll get you in shape. How about you get them in shape and then tell them, hey, if I get you in shape, this is what's going to cost. Okay. So I reversed it. So there's a risk reversal, and there's also the thing that, hey, you still got to do the work. So I wanted a commitment that you're going to do the work, so this is a commitment deposit. Yeah. When you do the work, I'm going to give you money back. Yeah. So most of these people have tried to lose this 20 pounds so many times they failed. Because now they have an incentive, they push through. When they push through, they found out, wow, I'm in a new place I've never been before. Yeah. I'm happy. I never want to go back. So I just want to get a membership and I want to maintain what I have. Yeah. So a refund rate on the 6-week 20-pound challenge is like less than 5%.
Really?
Yeah.
That's insane. That's insane. One of the things that I always see with the camp is the culture. People love it. And like, people are raving fans of the camp. I was at dinner with my girlfriend and one of her friends the other day, and she was asking me what I do, and I told them I work for you and everything. She's like, oh my gosh, you work for Sam, like you work for the camp. And like, how do you build that? Because there's so many so many gyms. But what separates the culture of the camp, and how can people replicate that for their own business?
You know, first of all, I will tell you this, man. Culture trumps everything. Yeah. In this day and age, how you make people feel is so much more important than anything else you can do. Because no matter what business you're on, no matter, I don't care if you're a chiropractor, you're a dentist, you're a car dealership, there is, you know, so many people that are doing the same thing as you. So make sure that you stand out, right? And building a culture is something that you just have to have intention behind it. You have to put intention behind it. You have to treat people like family. We talk about one of the biggest human needs being wanted. We set the camp to be the people's second home, where people come in and get away and be able to just go, you know, and get away from work, get away from home, and be their happy place. Yeah. You know, they said Disneyland is the happiest place in the world for kids, and I think the camp could be the happiest place for people as adults. Yeah.
One thing I heard someone say is like one of the best ways to build culture is like sweat together. and just like push yourself physically.
Being close proximity.
Yeah.
You know, I can tell you from experience that our bigger locations, you know, have somewhat of a lesser culture than our smaller locations.
Really?
There's something about being close proximity of each other. That's why they call it big box gyms. You know, there's a bunch of people in a huge place and nobody's really interacting with each other and nothing like that. You know, we don't want that. You know, the way I see, this is how you know if a business have a great culture, or just people just go there and hang out. People just literally go and hang out. And we look at how people just go to Apple just to kick it. See, people are looking at, they're in Apple when they're just looking at this and looking at stuff, and they're just hanging out.
Yeah.
You know, and I see when I go to a camp, when the culture is amazing, they're done with their working out, but they're still in the front, hanging out, talking, and making friends.
That's true. That's true. So growing the business, what are some of the biggest mistakes that you've made?
One of the biggest mistakes I made is thinking that just because it was done a certain way before, it has to be, that's the right way. So when I was a personal trainer, like at Bally's and 24-Hour Fitness, LA Fitness, you know, I thought, okay, wow, you know, personal trainers are paid as independent contractors. You know, so when I started my business, I'm like, all right, they're independent contractors. You know, and that's how I was paid. I didn't know the difference, you know, I didn't know how it was until I got audited by the labor board. They're like, well, you paying these guys as independent contractors? I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's how everything. They're like, no, that's not right, because they come to your facility, they use your equipment, and you control the money, you get the money, and you pay them. No, they're employees. I'm like, no, what? How come? Nobody said anything to me. And they said, well, guess what? We're saying something to you now. And that was kind of like my first wake-up call. So do your own research. Make sure you do all the right legal, you know, get the right legal advice, and do that. You know, the second thing is not getting, you know, proper mentorship right away. If I got a proper mentorship right away, I would have, you know, I would have avoided a lot of these mistakes, a lot of these headaches that I first had.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things is like, why not ask someone who's done it before? It's the simplest thing.
Simple.
Right? When you need help in school, who are you gonna ask? Your teacher.
Yeah.
How can people find mentors? Like, you know, what's a good way to find that person who you want to be like, and how to get access to them?
I mean, bro, look at social media. I mean, right now, you know, with the advent of social media, like back in the day when I first started my business, I don't know. What do you do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But right now, I mean, there is somebody out there that is doing what you want to do in the future. You know, and send them a message. You know, but don't send them a message. Please don't send them a message. Hey, man, can you help me out? You know, invest in their course, buy their book, show them that you're interested. Don't be one of those people who just want something. You know, these people they're people that are a real deal. They're getting hundreds of messages. You know, and and everyone knows that nobody takes free advice seriously.
Yeah.
You know, nobody takes free advice seriously. So if you want there, you know, invest in their course, you know, become their friends, you know, show that you're interested in them, you know, and before you know it, you're going to be hanging out with them and becoming their friends, really. But don't go in there and saying, hey, man, do for me. The best way for you to get what you want is to actually give first.
Yeah. Okay. So how are you growing businesses today? What other ventures are you involved in? You know, you started 1% Nutrition. What are some of the things you're doing outside of the camp?
Well, you know, one of my biggest fulfillment right now, you know, here's one thing that I haven't been doing in a long time that I miss. When I was a personal trainer, I directly made an impact.
Yeah. Which
means you came to me and I worked with you directly and I helped you get in the best shape of your life. And for the past 7 years or so, I haven't done that because I've been working in the office, I've been growing the business, and it's not really the best use of my time, you know, if you want to grow the camp. So, but I miss, you know, even though our facilities have helped hundreds of thousands of people, and I get messages every day saying your programs and your gyms changed my life, I'm not doing it directly.
Yeah.
So I've started like a business mentorship program, and I started a mentorship program to get people in shape as well. Now I can, you know, reach people at a larger scale. I can reach people in Switzerland. I can, you know, reach people in Canada, places that we don't have camps. Be able to help them in their business and also in their health and fitness. which now I can make difference directly, which kind of makes my heart happy.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. Sometimes you kind of lose that personal connection with the client, with the customer.
I miss that.
Yeah, because you always talk about fulfillment.
Yes.
Fulfillment is way more important than the revenue, the sales, whatever it is. And
my favorite quote is, "Success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure."
Yeah, and I've seen it with you. You've always tried to search for that first.
Yeah.
Money is never the
number one thing,
priority.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about. I want to ask you, if you were a kid today, what would you be doing? How would you set yourself up for success?
I was always obsessed about something in life. Mm-hmm. And the problem today is that people have too many choices, too many things they want to do.
Yeah.
Right? And when you have too many things they don't do, they don't obsess about the one thing. Mm-hmm. Like I was telling you, I wanted a Volkswagen GTI. Guess what? I was just obsessed about that thing till I got it. I want to become a bodybuilder. I was obsessed about becoming a bodybuilder and learning. I want to open up my business. And I got obsessed about personal development, business, and all that kind of stuff. Find out what you want to be obsessed about and go all in. And with YouTube, with Google, just go learn. Figure out that one thing that makes your heart happy, that you can make a business out of. And if I made a business out of just bodybuilding and lifting weights, there's so many things out there. I know you want to get into real estate. Guess what? I want you to become obsessed about it. I want you to know more than Andy knows that's going to teach you. I want you to be able to become the guru, know more than Manny, more than Andy, be able to be like, hey, I want you to teach them something they didn't know. Hey, Andy, do you know this? Mm-hmm. Well, I didn't know. Guess what? Andy is probably right now not keeping up with the latest. But guess who is? You are. I was that person. When I went back to the weight room, when all those people who took me under their wing, I went back and I taught them things that they didn't know. And today, whenever I go to the gym, I want to work out. We worked out together. I go, Justin, I'll do your workout. Because sometimes you do something a little bit differently that I haven't done. Yeah. I'm like, well, this is actually a good tricep workout, Justin. Mm-hmm. So always be open to learn and become obsessed about the topic.
Yeah, and you're still learning.
All the time.
Yeah, and that's something a lot of people, I feel like, when they've reached a certain level of success or prestige, they get that ego. And it's...
Well, I mean, for me, success and prestige doesn't matter. For me, I want to become better than I was yesterday. Mm-hmm. I want to become better than I was last week. And learning to me is so important, not only, as a person to progress, but just for mental health.
Yeah.
Just for mental health. Your mental health declines if you're not, creating new synapses and neurons in your brain, because that's how you create synapses and neurons, by learning new things.
Yeah. One thing I've actually realized is, I was always raised where we did want to get better. What were we working on? What were we struggling with? And especially here, that mentality is the same. But in a lot of people, that's not the case. Like I'm telling my friends, like, I'm reading this book, I'm trying to learn this, and they're like, why? Like, it's summer. Like, you're not in school. Where do you think that comes from? Like, where does that desire to just always want to be progressing come from? And if you don't have that, like, how can you build that?
I think it comes from your environment and your upbringing. I didn't have the, nobody in my family really sits down to read books.
Yeah.
I remember I was ridiculed by a family member. Wow, so you think you read books, you think you're smart now. But it's going to come either from you seeing your family do it and be a part of your family culture. But if it's not, by seeing other people who do it and be like, well, I want that for me and my family. Mm-hmm. And I saw that. I saw my family literally waste their life playing cards all day.
Yeah.
I saw them, play backgammon, which is like a Persian, thing and all that kind of, and I'm going like, dude, like, you guys are sitting here for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours playing cards and just throwing your time away. And I think we all agree that time's the most precious thing that you have. So why not use it to your advantage? Either spend time with the family or do things that are meaningful for your life and be able to get you ahead in life.
Mm-hmm. How do you overcome limiting beliefs? Because I know you had them absolutely from where you came from. How do you grow from the mentality of, like, the nicest car you said was a Honda Accord that you see to something like this?
You overcome your limiting beliefs by being around and surrounding yourself with people that are doing big things. Mm-hmm. I had a limiting beliefs that I could never get a jet until I flew a private jet with Ed, and Ed broke it down. My friend Ed Milet broke it down to, oh, well, you actually can. Let me show you how you can get it. I'm like, well, wait a second. I never thought I'd be in that level. But when he broke it down, I'm like, oh, that's not that hard to get. Uh-huh. You know what I mean? So that's how you overcome limiting beliefs. You know, when you see what's possible. You know, you can't be, the big fish or even the same size fish, in the pond. You want to go to a pond that makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah. What would you tell someone who says I can't do that? That's for them, the them mentality. How would people overcome that?
Can't do what?
If it's I want a Lamborghini. I'm talking to my friends about it and they're like, dude, what are you talking about? You're not going to have a Lamborghini? And one of my friends asked me, do you want a mansion? And I was like, yeah. I want a mansion. He's like, what? How do you handle that?
I think the best way to handle that, is put a plan together. Uh-huh. I use that as a fuel. They told me I couldn't be a bodybuilder. They told me, Sam, you got the worst genetics. You have skinny arms, skinny chest, and big belly. So I put a plan together to be able to show them that I can. I think we lost that somewhere. Remember when we talked about people getting softer?
Yeah.
I like somebody to tell me I can't do anything, because I like to show what's possible. Uh-huh. And you can't be around people who don't support your dreams, and are kind of like naysayers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, how do you reconcile the fact that it's you're just materialistic. You want the money and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with money, but how do you balance the two?
So first of all, what's wrong with being materialistic? What's wrong with being materialistic? What's wrong with wanting to have finer things in life? Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with it if that's what you want. Yeah. I'm not going to judge somebody, if they, if they're a multi-millionaire and they want to just drive a Toyota Corolla. I'm happy for them.
Why do you think there's a stigma around being wealthy?
Well, the stigma is because people don't want to do the work. Mm-hmm. They say, okay, rich people are bad, or rich people are materialistic, or and all that kind of stuff. It's not at all. Mm-hmm. No. I mean, a lot of people make money and they give it away. A lot of people, they're philanthropists, and if they work hard and they want to have a mansion or they want to have the Lamborghini, then more power to them. Yeah. If they don't want to have it, that's fine too. So it's a personal choice. I think that in life, you need to at least go for excellence. Mm-hmm. Whatever excellence is in your vocabulary. If excellence for you is, you want to have a condo, then by all means, that's your excellence. That's fine. But don't I'm not going to lower my standards to make you feel better. Because for me, excellence was this house. For me, excellence was a Lamborghini. Yeah. Do they make me happy? No, they don't make me happy. But it was a milestone for my hard work. Yeah,
absolutely. I remember when we interviewed Jimmy Rex, and he talked about how he's able to go on the free kids from sex trafficking. And he's like, dude, it's because of the money that I have that I'm able to do that. And so many people look at the wealthy people, or look at people who are financially successful, and they say they don't do enough. When the people the ones who are saying it, they don't do anything either. It's so many people just want to point the finger, and.
So I give that scholarship away, every year. Mm-hmm. I can give $10,000 scholarship to my old school for that. I can donate to organizations and different charities that I do because I made it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And hey man, it's not a crime if I want to take my family on a nice vacation. It's not a crime if I want to buy an exotic car. Yeah. I'm also doing a lot for the community and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So.
It's almost like when you cross the line and it makes people check themselves and
it's their insecurity. Yeah. It's their insecurity. And it's funny because it's sad, man. I lost a best friend. Because of that.
Really?
Yeah, because of that. He basically said, "Hey, man, so you think you're better than me now?" Or I've never said that. I've never even I love him and everything. And I'm like, I don't know where that came from.
Yeah.
I remember one time, he came to the house and he said something like, well, it's cool that you have all this stuff, but you've been divorced and you don't see your kids every day. And I'm like, wow, where did that come from? So you see people get really insecure, when you started doing well in life, and also they start, broadcasting the one time you failed or the one thing that, they say, oh my God, you messed this up. Mm-hmm. I messed up a lot of things.
Yeah.
I messed up a lot of my things in life. I'm not perfect, but I kept going and I made something out of it.
Yeah. Ed Milet has a quote. He says, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything.
Love that quote.
Do you believe that?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. 100%. I make my bed every day. Mm-hmm. I don't care how rushed I am. If I'm leaving the house, I put the Roombas on to make sure, hey, while I'm in the house, might as well clean. I want to make sure everything is detailed. Everything is going to be able to get done. You don't just, when somebody works for me and they're like half-assing their job, and I said, look, someday you're going to go into your business for yourself. So you might as well learn here, mm-hmm. To be able to get things done correctly.
Yeah.
And there's so many people that used to work for me and now they went out and did their own thing and they messaged me, Sam, thank you so much. You were really hard on me, but because I went through with you, I became so successful. And that to me, it's the ultimate compliment. How
much do you think interest or passion plays a part in that? Because there can be something for me as an example where my heart's not in it, and I'm not going to put in that effort. I'm not going to try it. But if it's something that I love, I have no problem spending days at a time just working at this. That's where I've always heard that quote, and I've always questioned it. I'm like, is it really? I was listening to Gary Vee, and he said the same thing. He's like, dude, I hated school, and that's why I sucked at it. I love business, and that's why I do well at it. It's because that passion. And sure, you can, you can use the discipline to do things that you don't like, and that's important. But he's like, when you have that fire for something, there's an added level that cannot be replicated.
I 100% agree with Gary Vee, mm-hmm. With that. However, I will tell you that not everything that you're going to do, it's, every single thing that you're going to do, even with the thing that you're passionate about, you're going to love.
Yeah.
There's parts of it that you're not going to love.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And so you have to, again, embrace the suck part of it, mm-hmm. And say, okay, this sucks, but I'm going to make the best out of it. Look, one day you're going to get married and you're going to pretty much love everything about your wife except a couple of things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you got to embrace the suck part of it and be able to work around it and be able to improvise and be able to do this. And to me, embracing the suck part builds mental discipline.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Builds mental discipline. And I always want you and everyone watching this show to practice mental discipline. Do the shit that you don't like to do, mm-hmm. on purpose. So to be able to get that fortitude to be able to get ahead in life.
Yeah, Jocko always says discipline equals freedom.
100%. I mean, I couldn't agree with that more.
Yeah.
I love discipline. It gives me freedom. Without discipline, if I'm not disciplined, if I'm not doing what I plan to do that day, I hate my life.
Mm-hmm. So what do you do if you're someone who isn't disciplined, who's never needed to be? They've always just kind of let themselves do whatever they want. How do they build up that discipline?
Just like you built running. Like, when you started training for the marathon, how'd you build it up? You do it a little bit at a time. You didn't start running 26.2 miles.
Yeah.
The first day. Maybe I run 1 mile. Maybe I do a block. Mm-hmm. Okay, just small wins. You need small wins for your confidence and your discipline to go in there. But you need small wins. That's it. One little win, one little win, one little win, one little block at a time, one little obstacle at a time. And you'll be like, I wasn't like this. I wasn't born like this. Mm-hmm. I'm not a broccoli eating cyborg. People are like, oh, Sam just goes to the gym, just probably eats just vegetables. No.
Yeah.
Do you think I want to get up every morning, at 3-4 o'clock in the morning to go to the gym? No, I want to be able to cuddle in bed and relax and, no. Mm-hmm. But I know that every single time I do it, it builds my self-confidence, it builds my mental fortitude, and And it's something that I need to do, train myself to be able to get ahead in life.
Yeah, one thing my coach was telling me recently, he was talking about momentum, and momentum breeds momentum. And if it's good momentum, it's going to get easier and easier, and you're going to just keep going. But if it's negative momentum, it's going to be even harder and harder.
It's the compound effect.
Yeah.
It's the compound effect. You know, little things done correctly over time gives you great results.
Yeah.
And little things done incorrectly over time will come to disaster. Hey guys, if you liked today's episode, do me a huge favor. Go ahead and leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel, leave me a review, and tag a few friends that you think can benefit from what we shared today. Really appreciate it. God bless.